everybody. Started here, 9 o'clock. See if we can get out here real fast. See if I can get some more people some access to it. But this is going to be what I like to call a director's cut. So explain a little bit more in regards to what I'd like to do here, accomplish. Post this on the GC tour boards. I'm definitely not a full-fledged gamer that has the Twitch streams and the all of the other ones. The other guys do that. They do a lot better job than me, but we're going to give this a whirl and see if we can try to do ourselves a little favor of this course here. So we'll give a little shout on the TGC board. Give this a little whirl here. So thanks for coming. My name's Ryan Fitzgerald, as some of you know. Like I said, I'm not really a streamer. I don't have a Twitch channel like some of the other guys that I follow, but I play in the Money Tour and play a number of events, and part of that, doing those special events is you have a YouTube channel which you broadcast some matches. So I figured, well, with all the great courses that are out there now, I wanted to try to accomplish a couple of things with this. And one is that I wanted to kind of go through and explain the course. I think a lot of courses that come out now, you kind of publish some pictures to the message boards, to Facebook, say, go play, let me know feedback. And a lot of times that feedback, can be it's something that's easily answered in a question, right? So it's like, well, why did you put a bunker here or a bunker there, or do this or do that, or maybe this distance or that distance? And if you just had an opportunity to hear the story of the course from the creator itself, it's going to help in that feedback. So I think no matter who you are, a beginner, an exceptional designer, whoever you are, I like to consider myself a successfully developing designer. I'll kind of get that into a little bit more as I keep going, but I feel that if you can understand the story of the course and understand some of the things of why the designer did certain things, then it will improve feedback. It'll also help it if the person who's reviewing it for TGC Tours can understand why a designer might have done a certain thing. We put so many hours into these courses, literally hundreds of hours, and then you just kind of hope that it gets plays. You try to hit that benchmark of 300 plays, and you do what you can to get better. Each story has, like I said, each course has that story, and so you just kind of want to tell it. So a lot of times too, as a designer will think a little bit differently, or if you did the story, say you have an advanced designer and they are thinking on maybe different levels than maybe a beginner, so it's good to hear from those guys as well in regards to, oh, that's what they're thinking, maybe I should try to implement that in my next design. So I think it's a good learning opportunity as well. So for this course, for Kallen Island, I created just a solo offline society so I can play. I'll be playing the black tees, pin 1. I'm going to play no wind, just because I want to talk about exactly what it is, and then you can take, as you play it, wind can be taken into its own, as its own factor. So we'll kind of get going, see how this goes, and go from here. So, like I said, I consider myself a developing successful designer in the fact that
and I'm just so happy to welcome you to our coverage of this
6 courses
on the
TGC Tours. 5 of them have been approved.
We are here for this first
and honestly, the
event
one
of
that
the
I learned
season.
the most from is
Lots
the one
of
that
expectations
got
on everyone here.
I
But
started
right
off
now,
with
let's get down to the
TPC
first
of Iowa,
team, pick up on the action.
and really, thought I did well with it. It was tour worthy, but first design made a lot of mistakes. So anyway, first hole, par 4, 471. Here it is, the black tee boxes. As you can see, kind of goes out in the out towards the middle of the fairway. The thing that I think I paid attention to a lot with this hole that I wanted to point out is that if you can see in the background there are these 2 aiming bunkers. These really should not come into play, but what I wanted to do is, if this is a true sim, one of the feedbacks I got on one of my courses is that improve the sight lines off the tee. And so here it is, I'm on the black tees. I want to split those fairways. If I'm on the blue tees, this bunker on the left, far left, is my line, and if I'm in the white or red tees, that bunker on the far right is my line. So I'm really trying to think true sim here in regards to how I can use what's in the course to get around it with no, playing in kind of that true sim mentality.
And with that,
So
I declare
ignore
this
my
event
lines.
has begun.
I've got kind of a bump
This
controller.
one's looking like it's in the
I've had some
fairway.
tempo issues, so hopefully
And
it's
about
not too terribly
175
bad.
yards away here. Okay, he is on. And about 7 feet to go here. For the birdie. And starting the round with a birdie.
There we go. 1 under. Started off
Now
well.
let's see what this second hole has in store.
So the second par 5, again, trying to use those bunkers is kind of your guide on how you want to go about it. So you can try to take a little bit more risk going to the left, play safe going a little bit more to the right, and it curves down a reachable par 5 in 2. So again, I just kind of think that bunker that I'm seeing up there is kind of always my target. Hopefully we can hit a good shot. So yeah, TPC of Iowa was my first course.
Here.
Like I said, it was tour approved. It made a lot of rookie mistakes.
From 250 yards out.
Got cocky, I think, in my second design of Tower Isle, and really had to discover. My big mistake was that I had to learn about trying to make a difficult course naturally more difficult instead of trying to force difficulty on it. Before I go, this bunker here, this is really one of those where if somebody wants to lay up, say they get too far to the right and they're not going to be able to get there in 2, and they want to play to that 94 yard, that full lob wedge shot. This is at about that 94 yard distance. So while this bunker really should not come into play very often, this is one of those where if somebody's going to lay back to avoid a pitch shot and play to that 94 yard distance for a lob wedge, this bunker is going to come into play and kind of force the issue a little bit to make you hit a good shot. So that's why that's there. But again, Tower Isle was a course that I tried to force the difficulty on it.
And I don't think that was the cleanest of swings.
Create some unfair slopes. The sculpting wasn't very good. I wouldn't say it was rushed, but it was one of those where you know, it was not done as cleanly as some of the others. And so after it got rejected, I watched the playthroughs of it.
For birdie.
People were nice enough to do, read a lot of comments, read a lot of feedback, and tried to make a lot of notes in regards to what I needed to do better as a designer. So I wasn't going to say that everything was bad about it, because I think I discovered that my planting and creating environment was good in that course. But there were other things that were bad, so I tried to listen to those guys. I read a lot of courses
setting up for the next
on the completed
par 4 hole.
The completed threads. Read what they said they liked, paid attention, made my own little list about what I wanted to do, and then really had the discussion kind of with myself on what I wanted to do in regards to designing a course of difficulty versus playability. And so I had to really rediscover that and try to take a lot of good lessons. For this one here, par 4, downhill. You got to stay to the left if you're going to go with that driver. It's really kind of that back, you know, that the green really slopes from front to back, as you can see. So if you get about pin high on the left, which you could, it's going to create a tough angle to get a pitch shot close. You can lay back, and it's probably a little bit better angle, but then you're bringing, you know, this bunker here into play. And so you have a couple of decisions, or, you know, if the wind is right, you can go for it. Especially on the blue tees, you have a much better chance of getting there. On the black tees, you need some wind at the back. So nobody's watching this to lay up. So I'm going to just go ahead and give it a whirl.
Well, I think this one's going to find the short grass.
It's all right. So again, with my learning a lot on Tower Isle in that course that was not approved, I really set out for a plan in regards to how I wanted to handle my next build.
This putt's about
and
3 feet away.
What I wanted to have included, what people really liked, you know, the short par 4s, the eagle opportunity par 5s.
And he's
the
going to stay
environment
right there
creates,
where he
those
was
kind of
on the
things
leaderboard. No
that
change
people
in the
really like
rankings.
to see.
And now the 4th hole.
And I wanted to make it playable. And that was the main goal of the course. Very playable, and I didn't care about the difficulty in the scoring. So made TPC Death Valley, and it became my first big hit. I'll talk about that here in a second, but this is the par 3, the first par 3 on the course. It does run a little bit more towards the back. So a lot of this course, if you play to the middle of the green, you should give yourself a good chance. You have a little bit more of a safety net over here on the right, but I'm just going to play basically to the middle of the green here. Let it feed back a little bit, or try to.
And looks like a 6-iron.
Gosh, that push. And it gives me a pretty good opportunity.
And that approach is
here.
safely on the green, but a whole lot of work to do for that next putt.
And
just
the way it goes, I
doesn't
guess.
want to drop. This putt's about a 2-footer.
And far and away we go. But TPC Death
And
Valley,
after that one, 2
I went
under
from
for
having
the
the
day.
goal of the designer, especially
Okay,
the designer,
and here
is
is
to
the
have
5th hole.
a 300 plays. You get that handicap status. TPC of Iowa got 300 plays, 5-6 months out. It just passed it. Tower Isle still is at like 250. TPC Death Valley, I think, is now approaching 7,000 plays. So it really exploded for me, and I was pretty pumped about it. But here, this hole here, hole 5, par 4. Again, you can see the bunkers here on the right. It's a tight window there between the bunkers and that tree. So if you would like, you can create, now the slope near the bunkers does help a little bit to get to the middle of the fairway. I like to put a little bit of draw on it. But again, if you were in a true sim environment, looking at those bunkers, just staying a little bit to the left, there's your guide. As I was doing my research for TPC Death Valley,
off.
No, give me a bounce. Oh, phew. As I was doing my research
from
for TPC
165
Death Valley,
yards
I'm
out.
thinking about the sight lines comment that I was given to work on. The thought was that you should always have those bunkers, not necessarily. If you aim at them, that's what's going to give you the best angle. So a lot of these bunkers will tell you the story of how to play the course. So a lot of these bunkers, there's not going to be bunkers that are accidentally put out there. So let's just get to the top level.
Looks
here.
like a 7 iron.
Don't want to be
This
short.
one's looking pretty good.
Again, you can play to the middle.
And this putt's for birdie.
Middle of the green and be a little bit safer.
Ooh, that was very
Just
close. Just didn't drop.
Hey,
And
Steve.
This putt's for par.
So I got a chat. No kidding, designer bounce. I need a few more of those.
We have a good putt.
But yeah, TPC Death Valley.
And he's still tied for first.
Took off.
After that.
I was really pumped about it.
And
Got
now
about
setting up for
7,000.
this par 5.
My big goal was to get it on tour. Wasn't quite ready for that just yet. I still think it's really cool, maybe challenge circuit AM course because it doesn't have a lot of green slopes in it. And there's some flaws in it too, but it looks really good, plays really good. A lot of people really like it, and so I enjoy it. So here is the second par 5. Back towards the ocean side. 2-tier green with the pin on the bottom. So it's a good opportunity for eagle here. I do love the view of this drive over the water with the bridge and the sun. This is one of my favorite shots on the course. If you are playing this course with pro clubs from the tips, you do have to be aware of that tree. You want to be left on this fairway. You want to challenge again this bunker. And so you really want to think about how you want to handle your tee shot. If you're a pro club user, you may want to lay back here and have a little fade around, a draw around that tree, get back in the fairway in 2. If you are playing the tips with pro clubs, it makes it considerably more challenging. But I'm going to try to get by this tree. It's going to be close. Fast swing, so I got a shot.
Yeah, this is looking fairway bound.
Hey. Tight little pin there on the green. Try to hit it. Do not want to go into those bunkers on the left. That is a bad spot to be in and a tough up and down. So depending on the wind, you should be able to get home in 2. Otherwise, you're leaving yourself a pretty good birdie chance with this hole. Just gonna run away from me a little bit. Slow bite. Oof. Just gonna hate those.
And this is right around the 8-foot mark.
And there we go.
And that putt
Good
will
birdie
drop for
opportunity on
birdie.
that hole. But I love the overlook of the ocean.
And after that one, he's still managing to hold on to first place.
Move on.
And next up, we
Hole
have
number
par
7. This is
5
probably one of
hole.
my favorite holes on the course. You got the lake on the right. You'll have the ocean on the left. Again, that bunker on the left is kind of your aiming point. You want to be close to that as possible. And you'll see why here in a second as the hole winds around to the right. And you have that retaining wall with some slopey greens. So this is a fun hole, I think. It's one of my favorites, and during some of the testing, this has gotten some of the best reviews on it.
And this shot's looking promising.
So we're gonna five. I can try. This is a tough shot. I can try to use this slope and have it feed it back towards the hole. It can, though, run off to the right. I can stay left here, and I don't want to hit my third shot long at all or have a fast swing, or else I'll go too far and lose my birdie chance. Or I also don't want to stay on top on that ledge because then having a 2-putt down that other ledge becomes really challenging. So we'll give this, might as well try to pull this off. Go. And I got a shot. And oh, just missed. I'm gonna run off a little bit, but leave myself an eagle putt.
Fantastic work on this par 5, hitting the green in 2.
So, a couple of different ways, of course, you can play that hole. You can lay up more towards the left if you wanted to. Got to get up this, and it shouldn't be that. And slow down.
And this putt is for birdie.
So a little bit of a touchier putt than I wanted for my birdie. But hey, got it.
That putt will drop. And after that one, he's going to stay right where he was on the leaderboard.
So yeah, moving right along.
The 8th,
number 8, the par 3
is next.
Mostly, I did tournament objects because I love having, if a tournament is set up well on a course, it can look cool. If I'm not a huge fan of the empty bleachers stuff, so wanted to show off at least the tournament version of it. So I'm hoping some societies might, like I said, play in some tournaments on this course. On this green, have some slopes here. You have this one in a little gully. There's a pin up here on the right, and then this, if there is on this green, it does slope back into the left. So there is a pin position in that back left portion of the green, and if you, again, you play to the middle of the green, get up above that red slope there on the left behind the pin, it will start feeding down towards the hole and give you a good birdie chance. So again, this is a very this is a scoreable par 3, and you can use the slopes on this green to help you accomplish that birdie or help
going with
good shot.
the 8 iron. This is heading towards the green.
Out, a little bit of a backstop. Come on back. Oh, I didn't get much more over that.
This one's a 9-footer.
But again.
Oh,
yep.
That was so close. And for the par.
So anyway, finish this up.
We're finishing this one with a good putt.
Halfway point on 9.
And after that one, 4 under is the score for the day.
We head back to the
par 4, folks.
So my the course after TPC Death Valley, I wanted to really take what I learned from that course, and I wanted to work on. I'm trying to build on one, maybe 2 things that I did really well from my previous design. So if I I did really well on planning, or did really well on sculpting or bunkering, I wanted to take those things, keep them constant, but add maybe more unique, green complexes. And that's been one of my attempts over the last couple builds, is trying to build some more and better green complexes, so the green sizes are a little bit more appropriate. There's a little bit more slope. Some more challenges to it, but not, again, unplayable. I don't want to go to the point of unplayable. I always want anybody to be able to get on these courses and enjoy it. So, again, this far, you can kind of see that big bunker in the distance. That is, again, and towards the clubhouse, that's your line. Of course, you have this little, you want to be on the left-hand side of this fairway because of the angle here. And so to avoid that little pot bunker, or that little bunker there, shouldn't really call it maybe a pot bunker, but just a bunker there you don't want to be in, and we'll give this a whirl.
It's looking like it's heading into the fairway. And about 180 yards to the pin.
So uphill, 181, tighter landing spot. Again, shelf in front, so I want to get up there. I'll just put a little bit of loft on here, see how it goes. But again, tournament objects, without the crowd there, you can kind of see the putting green, you see the clubhouse, start, the grandstands. So some things that you maybe don't see in a normal just playthrough. So we'll go ahead and give this a
and going with the 6 iron.
Oh no!
And 6 iron proving to be a bit much
another one
right
of those
now.
Designer bounces. But so yeah, so my latest design after Death Valley. Where's it gonna go? No.
And 11 feet to
I
go
wanted
here.
To build a Swiss theme, and I'm put together Breckenridge Country Club,
And
which I
that
think a
putt
lot
drops
of people
on
have
in
played.
for par.
That hit even bigger than
And after
you
that
can
one,
see
he's
Death
still
Valley.
holding on to the first place spot.
It is getting close
and
to
now
10,000
teeing
plays.
off on this par 4.
And has been featured on the Corn Ferry Tour. So that has definitely been my big, I guess you can say big win from a design standpoint is Breckenridge Country Club. And then to follow that up was Callista Hills, which is also going to be on the Corn Ferry Tour next week. So have really made some good strides, I think, from a design standpoint and making quality course that can be used. And so that's why I feel like I'm successful but still developing. So again, here we go. This is where you get through 10 and 11 on this course even, then you're really looking good. You're going to set yourself up for a good round. Tight drive. It does run downhill. Just want to be right of those bunkers that you can see on the left. So avoid those bunkers. Stay in the fairway. Do not go right like I just did.
Was off on that swing.
So not good. Now I'm just going to do my best to try and, well, I don't think I have too much here. In this situation, I can use this slope right here to bounce it up towards the hole a little bit. I am hoping to save par on this one, though, and go from there. So we'll see how this goes.
Ooh, looks like he's going through the branches here.
Play again towards the middle of the green. Hey, worked out well.
And this putt is for birdie.
Let's go ahead and try to get this putt. This is a slick putt. Anything to the right on this green runs off. So again, the kind of the strategy on this hole is to, or in a lot of the holes on this course, play to the middle of the greens. Just kind of lag this down. Yeah, not too bad.
And
not
about
too bad.
5 feet from the cup. And the par putt will drop.
Try to use some different stuff. Try to really make it feel like
And
a really big
sitting
tournament.
at 4 under for the
Society.
day.
I think it's
And moving on to the 11th hole.
Things are not in the other version, like the fences and the banners and the stands and everything. They're not in the original version. But just wanted to do everything I could to make it a fun, big tournament feel. Coming up towards the end of this version of the golf club, and so you're probably going to have a lot of big tournaments in societies here to wrap things up, and hopefully somebody might choose this one to do so. So wanted to give a good course and give a good feel for it in case it is. So here it is, number 11. Tough hole. You got to stay in the fairway again on this hole. This is a grass bunker that's purposely here, and you don't want to obviously go right down onto the beach. If you miss on either side, you're laying up of that big sand divide up in front there. So you got to hit the fairway here. But yeah, this grass bunker, this is one that you don't see a whole lot of grass bunkers, especially on the side of the fairways in this game. But it just kind of felt appropriate in this situation. You do have, for some of the red tees, the white tees, this bunker up here on the left, which comes into play. You do see it from the tee, and so you want to make sure you're right of that, and you're kind of splitting the right side of that bunker, and of course the rocks on the right for your line. And that'll leave you in a good spot. Jeez.
Well, I think we'll find some fairway here.
Play from the fairway.
And hitting from 195 yards out.
196 up. This really doesn't come into play. Just kind of a unique feature of the sculpting of the land. I thought it made things a little bit more interesting, a little bit more of a, as you're trying to play up, if you miss the fairway, it gives you a decision to make. It does add a little bit to this green area, this green complex area. So 183, this does tend to run back to the right a little bit. I'm just going to de-loft. I think I can get it there. It'll be close. Hopefully it gets up. Oh.
And here's the 6
gracious.
iron.
That's terrible.
Well, that approach shot's not going to be on anyone's highlight reel, I don't think. And that's a bit out of character today. This round, he's been pretty good for his greens in regulation.
Again, there are some pins. There is a pin position down here on this flat that you can use some slope. But there are some pin positions back on this in the upper section and one towards the back right. Again, if you play to the middle of the green, the ball will feed those pin positions. So feed, kind of play towards the middle of the green and you should be okay. So, this probably isn't going to get there. 68. I would rather be a little short. And as you can kind of see, it kind of runs that way a little bit. More so towards the back.
This putt is essential to save.
Sorry, I'm having a few audio issues. Like I said, never really done this before. Keep my headphones beep at me every now and then, so I'm trying to keep talking. And down.
Oh my gracious, that was close. And this for the bogey.
Yeah, so any Corn Ferry guys, good luck on this week. I'll be playing my rounds here shortly.
And after that one, he will stay at the top of the leaderboard.
Enjoy Callista Hills. I hope
on
you
this
enjoy
par
it like
4.
you did Breckenridge Country Club. Yeah, it's been quite of a. I go back and play some of my original courses and really try to learn a lot. The more research you do, I'm an analyst by day, so the more research you do, I think it's helped. And the more you keep your ears open, we all kind of see our courses with rosy-colored glasses. So the more you can kind of keep your ears open and listen, and I kind of make a checklist now of things I want to see in my courses. I think it helps. Excuse me. So, par 4, drivable, downhill is drivable if you get to get the right wind, or you're at no wind like we are now. This really has 3 tiers. You have this front, you have the middle valley, and then you have a top tier on the back. So it is a little bit more of a bumpy green. You can see it a little bit more when you putt, but it's one you want to make sure you have a straight drive. Don't have anything slow. You hit something faster in that bunker, and depending on the pin position, it can be a tough up and in. I guess you could lay back here towards this side, but in all reality, it's kind of a tough layup. Doesn't really create a great angle. So I would almost say 100% of the players are going to play this, and they're going to go for it. So that's what we're going to do. I'm probably going to be a little bit long.
Okay, this one's looking pretty good.
Basically because of that slope. Yep.
And ladies and gentlemen, you don't see that every day. We are on the green.
Maybe could have dialed it down to a 2
par
wood.
4.
This is going to go downhill, back uphill, and to the right. Let's see. But this is one of my favorite holes. Really love it. Oh my goodness.
Well, looks like that
and
putt
I say that,
got away.
That was one of the worst putts I've hit in a while. Don't go down there. And I'm making a mockery out of this.
And about 10 feet to go here.
So now I'm fighting for this green in my short game. Fighting for par.
And that one will drop.
So that should be a birdie hole, but
and no change for him leaderboard-wise after that hole. And now the 13th hole.
And now onto the par 5 13th. It's going to be coming down the hill. Again, you'll notice the bunker on the right. That's going to be where you want to go, as close to that as you possibly can. The closer you get to that bunker, it's going to give you a good angle towards this green. That's tucked down and to the left a little bit. Now this pin position, you can get to with that slope, so you're going to come up a little short, but it'll probably roll back there. And again, you should give yourself a good chance for birdie if you can kind of hit the fairway. In this range in here, you get over here, then you're going to have a really tough angle in. So the angles and the positions on this course, I think, are really key. You just can't bomb it. The slope is going to push it to the left as part of its defense. So, so you really just got to pay attention to where the pins are, where you want to be off the tee, if you do just come up and grip it and rip it,
I think he's going to like that.
You could find yourself with tougher angles, especially on some pins. There are a couple of pins over here on this left side, and so hitting a good tee shot is really key. So this is going to be a little too much, and I also don't want to, if I'm going to try to go for it with different spots, I've got that slope. I don't know how much right to left movement I want to put on there because I don't want to go in the water over there either. So we'll just kind of play it about right there, put a loft on it. See how this looks. Oh no, big hit, but on the bottom tier, looking good. And hopefully it'll...
I think he'll like that. And this for the birdie.
Nice little chip in for birdie. Or tap in for birdie.
Nice little
how
putt.
you play that hole. But you go into that bunker or you go far left, you're bringing in a lot more challenges. So you really pay attention to that.
Next hole we have before us is a par 3. Let's see what happens.
Moving on to the par 3 14th. I love the look of this hole. I love the lighting on it. I know it can be tough. Some people probably hate it. It's a personal preference of mine. Pins in the back right. Got to try to avoid that bunker on the right slide. Get it up on the right slope. I'm just going to put that 211. Get a little deal off here. Go right at the crowd seating. But I just love the way that light shines. So I hope everybody else does too. So here we go.
That looks like the hybrid.
Slow. Man, I went to go get a new controller.
Well, not a very great approach shot there. Unfortunately, not enough club on that one.
So hopefully it can handle that.
Really nicely done out of the sand, and that is putting par very much within grasp.
For par, not making this easy on myself. Come on down.
Ooh, unfortunate.
We'll drop back.
And this one's for the bogey.
The front 9, I feel, is really where you're going to get your scoring in. The back 9, there are some birdie holes in 12 and 13.
And he will stay right where he is on the
10, 11,
leaderboard
14,
after that hole.
And 15 coming up here, I think,
is setting up now on the 15th.
A pretty big challenge. 15 coming up. This, I think, is going to be one of the, especially in a tournament, is going to play one of the most difficult. And that water is rough. It's going to be tough to understand how you want to attack this hole. If you have Masters, if you're on the black tees and you're on the Masters clubs with no wind, you're not getting there. You can fast it, I guess, and have a chance, and probably get there if you fast it, but that's a big risk. You would leave yourself about 160 in on the most part, and that's an aggressive play, hitting it perfect. So that's one way to play this hole. The other way, the most safe play, is to come over here and you take aim at this bunker here on the right. And this is kind of the shot you're going to have. If you play this shot, play it safe, you're probably going to have 225 uphill. That's left, maybe 230. But you're going to have a safe, you're going to have a good angle, and you can take a good swing at it. The third, on a slightly riskier position, again, thinking true sim. You see this bunker here. This bunker really won't come into play very often, but it is going to be your sightline targeting bunker out there to hit this patch. This patch here, if you get it in, will leave probably about 200 to 210, depending on how close you get to the edge. You definitely do not want to go left. You're cutting off yourself to the green, and you definitely don't want to go in the rough on the right because you're going to have to probably lay up and try to fight for a par. So, personally, I love the play of trying to get over here to this side and go, but it gives you a lot of options in regards to what you want to do with this hole.
Looking pretty good.
I think that's the safest play for me.
And this next shot setting up significantly below the hole.
Okay, so 212, uphill, 21. Leave myself with those long irons in. I always like to have a little bit of a slope to kind of slow it down. It's not really a defense of the green, but it's there really to kind of help the player slow the ball down as it's coming in. That's some of these longer clubs are going to run. So let's de-loft it a little bit. And again, there are some positions down here on this bottom side. You use the slope, or you can use the slope to get them down there. So let's give this a whirl. Too bad, not too bad. Did I get enough? Yeah. Oh, just a little bit off. Kind of a needed just a little bit more, a little. But green fringe, I can putt that uphill. Not a bad position to really be in. Up, to left. Oh.
Oh, and wouldn't that have been pretty? Just it's a solid attempt,
very
but
happy with
very
that.
long putt.
Very
and
happy.
now we will take a look at the leaderboard. And
Sorry,
after that hole,
towards the end
he's
here.
still in first place.
The 16,
and setting up on the
coming down
16th
from
tee.
some of the other areas. New collection area. Again, par 5, and this is again going to be important. Off the tee, you really want to be left. You have those 2 bunkers there. They're not just there to, hey, I got to better throw a bunker on the left or better throw a bunker on the right, or do whatever. But the more you challenge those bunkers on the left, the better, again, the angle you can to attack this par 5 into. And the slopes on the green will feed that ball down towards the hole. So it's, again, use the bunkers, because they're usually telling you where you want to try to go on this course. So again, you get over here on the middle of the fairway, not paying attention, there's your angle in. There's nothing there. You're really having to swoop it around. Get it over here on the right, you got a chance to move the ball from left to right and use that slope of the green to get it close. So pay attention. This green is wide, but to really have the optimal scoring chance, you want to be right in here and not much else. So think about that as you're playing, especially match play if you guys play it. And I, of course, I don't know fast, so maybe to go over to the left. That is about as far right as you want to be. Yeah, so you see, not the greatest angle in. Now I've got, if I hit it straight, I'm going to be right in that front bunker. I'm going to try to move it a little bit right to left. Again, if I wanted to play to a 94 distance or something where I want to have a little bit more of a shot, that's where this bunker is going to come into play here, short. So hopefully, we're not going to, again, nobody's watching to lay up. So let's use that slope. There is a pin, I want to note up here, that's right up here on this front right. That's really tough to get to. But you can be really aggressive and try to use this slope here to try to have the ball run down to it. So it's another, depending on the pin position, it's a pretty high risk, high reward shot. But again, you hit it even if you run back down, you should leave yourself with a very manageable 2-putt. So one more time, check this. Check the shot path, right to left. Gonna hit it pretty good, and there we go. About as good as I'm going to do on that.
Very well played, and hitting this par 5 and 2 is going to set
Pay
up some
attention.
nice
You're
eagle
play on that
opportunities
hole,
here.
where you want to be on the course. The bunkers.
Oh, I thought that one was going to be in.
The bunkers tell the story.
This one's about 2 feet from the
How
cup.
to attack it. They're not just out there just to look at or have or
After that
else,
one,
but their
4
targets
under
are,
is the score for the day. And setting up
put a bunker out there at 285 just to say, okay, well, if you miss it, go slow. You're going to go in 1. And that's about it. 17, par 3 tournament. Crowd's picking up a little bit. Have a little backstop here in that position. 197. We're up. 194. Seems to be about right. And we'll just kind of go. See, do have a back there, a couple of pins in the back. Just have to really understand how much slope you want to take off. So it's a again, you're going to fight to at -4, I'll be happy if I finish at -4. I have a chance maybe here for a birdie chance with the slope and the pin position.
That looks like
I'll be
a
happy
5
with
iron.
-4. And come on back down. Maybe a little bit more. Give it a little more. Okay.
I think you'll like that. This one's
The
about
upper ones are
9
definitely
feet
a little
away.
bit more difficult, but it can be there. And
And it just misses.
terrible.
And this
Terrible
putt
putt.
is
I
for
gotta work
par.
on this putting.
And that one will drop.
There we go. We head to 18. So this really wasn't
And as we check the standings, he's still
designed to do like a
holding down
real
first place.
place where, the Acrobat Gaming early
Teeing it up
1981
here on
Jim.
the 18th.
Those guys, they do a phenomenal job of doing the playthroughs. Steve, I see you're here. Steve Flatten has done an awesome job of creating some promo videos. I watch his Twitch stream. I watch a couple other guys' Twitch streams that are a lot of fun. I watched the Friday Night Alt Shot. That Rhino04, I think is his call, or is it his tag name. And those guys are a lot of fun too. So those guys, this was just kind of one of those things where, why is this here? Why is this there? So again, bunkers on the right. Just want to be a little bit to the left of them. And try to keep myself, depending on the pin, a little bit more left towards the fairway, in the middle of the fairway. This water here is nothing more than just cosmetics. Don't even think about it. It doesn't come into strategy of the play. It is just thinking about it. If I'm staying at this hotel, and I'm up on that deck, which I tried to put a tournament crowd in there, but I see it's always 50-50 on, looks like they've disappeared on me. But if I'm sitting on that deck and I'm watching people go, I like that little water feature. I think it's purely cosmetic, nothing to do with the strategy. So don't think, oh, that's out of place. It's not out of place. It doesn't come into play at all. Even though in practice I did have a very slow and hidden in that water, which is ridiculous. But it is only there for cosmetic purposes and nothing else. But we have a nice grandstand coming in. We'll go ahead and give this a hit. Oh, you do not. I think is a very, very challenging green.
I think this one's going to find
the
the fairway.
tier. And don't miss.
And from 160 yards out.
Don't miss long, especially on some positions. You miss really right over here. That's a tough chip up and in, especially because you get the downslope by it. So stay below the hole. So we're coming up towards that, and in the distance, there's a little driving range. I'd love to play on that, but at least figure I'd show it off since we're coming home. So we'll just give this a whirl. 160 seems about right.
And here's an 8 iron.
Fast swing again, but could be okay. That is about as good as I'm going to do on this. And I'm
if this
thrilled
drops,
that I'm going to
that's for a final round score of 68
on this one. It's going to make you work all the way.
Ooh,
and
that
of course,
was very, very close.
Terrible finish.
This one looks about
Boy,
4 feet.
I hope I get criticized for that one. Terrible,
that one drops
terrible
for par.
That's all on me.
And this
-4
event is
for the
over,
round.
and he will take it for himself.
I hope everybody enjoyed
Winding
that. I
up
hope everybody
number
kind of
one
maybe it
out
helps
of all the rest
understand
of the field. Very
my
good
thinking
job.
in some of these.
Well done to him.
Some of this build.
And with
but again,
that,
I wanted
folks, our broadcast
I really wanted
comes to an
focus
end.
on sidelines,
And we
true
say
sim.
goodbye
If I'm
to
going to
you,
play with
and
no
thanks for
no
tuning
grids,
in.
can the sightlines on the holes tell the story of how I should play the hole? Can it guide me around the course? And so I think I accomplished that. I'm sure I probably can do better in some areas. But you keep working. I also, like I said, I wanted to get if somebody's going to give some good feedback. I hope this video helps. So you can say, well, what's that for? What's this for? Again, it allows somebody to understand my thinking on it a little bit. So I wanted this to be challenging. I love being able to score early and then really have some challenges. What I think is some challenges late. And one thing in my list that I always like to have is I always like try to have a signature 18th to finish. I like always leaving everybody with that that really positive feeling of that was a really great hole to finish, because then that leaves that good feeling about the course. So, as well as having a challenging hole to try to finish it, wrap it up. Thinking if you have a tournament, you're tied for the lead or you got the lead, you got to hold it. In that Friday alt-shot round that those guys play that I've watched, I remember one of the guys for Breckenridge commented that 18 was, he maybe thought it was one of the best finishing holes he'd seen in a while. And so, so it was one of those where I think it left a great impression, and maybe it helped it take off. So I was really happy to hear that. So love seeing the playthroughs. I hope more guys do it. Steve, I know you've been here. Thanks a lot for chatting and sticking around. Check out his video. I'm going to be posting the video he made for this course on Facebook or later tonight or tomorrow. So check out his video. Check out his playthrough, or check out his stream. You can see it in the chat, Casanova7448. It's one of the Twitch streams that I watch. So thanks for stopping by, Steve. I'm not nearly as good as you are. I hope everybody at least enjoyed the talking. But if you play it, I hope everybody enjoys this course. I hope this has been somewhat helpful. And for those who are really great on design in this game, I hope it at least, maybe if you do play and want to give some feedback, this will help. And so some of the beginners, I hope this is maybe giving you some insights on what I've thought about when building this. Thinking about the playability and not worrying too much about the score, thinking about placing the bunker strategically, having the good sidelines off the tee. Even though you might have wider fairways, thinking about the angles and being towards the hole. So some of the other things that I've thought about maybe can help you as well. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna just sign off here. It's been almost an hour now, so thanks for watching, and enjoy the course.